What's up, Tutorinos, and welcome back to the Game Addicts podcast. That show where we talk about modern, retro video games of all kinds and sorts. Back to you once again for a take 2 of this episode. We've tried it once before, but today is the day. Today's the day. We're doing it today. Joined today once again by the incomparable Mike Norris.
Hello.
And I didn't even introduce myself. I'm out of practice. I am this podcast player 1, Brando. He's player 2. We're here to talk about some E3 stuff. E3 happened a year ago now. I don't know when it happened. It's been a while. But about what?
It feels like a year.
Yeah, almost, man. But like it's about a week or so ago. So we had some E3 happenings. Typically every year there's a huge hubbub of everything, and it wasn't as big this year. But I mean, notable because like, well, of everything that's been going on for the last year. We didn't even have one last year.
Sure.
So we had some stuff. We do have some other stuff coming down the pipeline. EA Play is going to happen, I think, in like a few weeks in July. So there's some. So before we get started talking about what we liked about this year's, we're not talking about everything. By the way, we're not going down every single game, every single thing that was shown. We're just going to talk about some of the stuff that we thought was interesting and some of our favorite stuff. Of course, everybody's talking about who won E3. That's every year. I don't know if
every time.
And my answer is always the gamers, because no matter where you're gaming, there's a lot of cool stuff to play, a lot of cool stuff coming your way. And, everybody in the industry is working really hard, especially given the climate. Some people are getting back into work in offices. Some people don't want to go back to work in offices. They want to stay home. Trust me.
Why not? You just proved you could.
I know, right? Right. So, like, why would you want? But for certain things, you definitely want to be in a group setting. I get that. But no, EA. So there's one thing that kind of came out about this EA thing. And I don't know if you've seen it. But EA is hinting that they will be revealing an already established IP revival at their EA Play.
Heard about it, but I'm concerned as to what it is.
There's conjecture online.
Well, here's the thing: you could literally like drop like 10 decks of cards that are all completely different because of how much shit they have.
Yeah,
and pull one out and go, "It's this one."
It's this one,
and kind of be close.
Yeah, and then we would be all wrong. It's like some weird Maxis games that was made back in the 90s. Like, oh, this is established. No, the rumor mill's buzzing about them bringing back Dead Space, and
the popularity of horror games right now, it's a high possibility. I mean,
with the well-received Mass Effect Legendary Edition remaster, that was very well received amongst Mass Effect fans and the just general fans of games in general, saying, "Hey, this is a pretty good remaster, guys. Good job on this one." And so EA might
no
be
negatives, right? There haven't been a bunch of negatives out there. It's all been pretty much like, hey, this is good. This is what we want to see more of.
I mean, the only thing negative was the fact that it still has the same ending, and they didn't change it, which they weren't going to. So
I don't give a shit about what they say about that.
Well, exactly.
The game is the ending. 3 is the ending. Just shut up and take it.
There you go. But I mean, that is something that we already knew. Everybody knew that. Everybody who was going to replay this knew that going in. They said, we're not going to change the ending. We're going to keep everything the same. We're just going to work on Mass Effect 1, tweaks in 2 and 3. And they did a lot more than tweaks for 1. It's not a new game, but it's way better. So I would not be surprised to see them announce a remastered version of Dead Space 1, 2, and 3. And then also say, hey, we are remastering Dead Space. And then we're also announcing the development of a brand new next-gen Dead Space experience, which so that way, because Dead Space missed an entire generation, and so you have
that's because the EA bought them.
Well,
no. That's where companies go to die.
Unfortunately, yes. But if they want to do a new Dead Space game, you have to do a remastered. You have to bring that. There's 8 years. How many new gamers have been established in 8 years? And they've only played on the current PlayStations or Xboxes or even PCs, and they haven't gone back to those old games because they're not new. And in some cases, in the console realm, unplayable unless you get them, unless they're available on Stream, PS Now, or I'm pretty sure they are backwards compatible on Xbox. But you have to track down those original copies, or you have to buy them off the store. So,
yeah,
I can see why people have stayed away. Anyways, EA stuff is coming down the line. I would be pretty cool about a Dead Space thing. I don't know what else it could be. It is probably going to be something like you said, from like 30 years ago that nobody remembers, and everyone's going to be deflated, and they're not going to give us what we want. That is the EA way.
Because they think they know what's best for gamers.
They think,
because of the two games that, like Madden, which, what was it, the last Madden, or the Madden before that was like unplayable? Was it the last one or the one before this one?
I think it was the one before this one, and the last one was just not really notable.
Yeah. And then freaking FIFA. Okay, FIFA's going to sell high numbers just because it's FIFA.
Right.
Soccer is the most watched sport in the world. It's going to sell. And that's what they try to base all their numbers off of. And it's not how you do that. Well,
a lot of these companies, they want money, they want sales, and so
that's fine.
That's their strong suit. Like, hey, let's do this, and this has to release every year, and sometimes they get unrealistic expectations of like, well, this game needs to have this much amount, and I understand you need to have a return on your investment. That's
always need a return.
But then you're also like kind of convincing developers, and you consider this dead horse beaten again, but and I'm not saying it happened this way, but it definitely seems like it happened this way, where BioWare's like, hey, here's our pitch for KOTOR 3, and EA's like, no, we want a game as a service type deal, like Destiny. And so BioWare's like, oh, okay, I guess we can do that, sure. And of course they're making their bosses happy, like, hey, let's try and do this. And then of course we got Anthem. So what happens when you take a developer that has a good history and you start pushing stuff on them? And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe EA didn't push it. Maybe this is what we want to do because we want to make money. And that could be, but it obviously was the wrong choice. I'm not even going to say a bad choice. It was the wrong choice, because now they have to work so hard when you have a game that falters, Mass Effect Andromeda, a game that's an absolute flop and a mess, Anthem. Now they have to work on rebuilding their reputation. And that sucks, because now there's a whole new crew of people at BioWare that almost nobody from the old realm. There might be a few that are hanging around, but it's all new guys. And they work for a team that had a big, long history of making awesome games. That's why EA bought them. And so then, of course, then they start messing with the formula, just like the old Warner Brothers messing around too much with the stuff on set, or Sony messing around. They got too involved in the Spider-Man movies back in the day. Spider-Man 3, they needed Venom. We need Venom in this movie. And so we end up getting a bit of a mess of a movie for that old Tobey Maguire movie. And then that's because the director and writers had their vision. Sony had their vision. They had to meet in the middle, and then so yeah.
What can you do, though?
Well, right. Well, what we can do is, not focus on the bad. We're going to focus on all the good that was at E3 that we liked. We have a few things. Xbox and Nintendo had the two really big pillars of their showcases here. Of course, Xbox bought Bethesda, and they have all this stuff kind of going on. So they kicked it off with the teaser trailer for Starfield, which is better than just the logo reveal we got a few years ago. Not much better, because we still we don't know much about it. There were some little rumblings about some like Todd Howard and somebody else, I can't remember his name or her name, we're discussing kind of what they felt the game was. It's like Skyrim in space. It's like Han Solo meets Skyrim. You know, they kept saying that word Skyrim, you know, buzzword almost, kind of like, because they don't want you to feel like, well, this is like space means Fallout 76. We don't want you to think that. That's not the title in our history. We want to focus on the one that we've released on, like even Amazon Alexa, right? So,
that we literally have released on almost everything other than this gen, which I'm waiting. You know, why not?
Why not? Right? Why not? But then the very first time that we tried to record this, you mentioned something notable. When they first announced Starfield, they said it was going to be on the same old engine.
On the, what was that? The creation engine?
Yeah, creation engine. Yeah. And this is 2.0. This is a new, enhanced, brand new engine.
But notable about that statement is that they weren't going to make a new IP. They were just going to use the one from Skyrim that has all these bugs and not fix it.
I mean, some of these bugs have been there since Oblivion. I mean,
and they haven't done anything with it. So
they tweaked the engine with Skyrim. They tweaked it again with Fallout 4. They didn't do a damn thing with it with 76 because the same things that were there in 4 were there in 76. But Starfield, okay, so they did reveal the release date 11/11/22, exactly 11 years after Skyrim's original release. So we have a date. I was hoping to get a little bit more in the showcase about it. I was hoping, but I see why they didn't do it, and I understand why they didn't do it. Because anything they show now could set unrealistic expectations. Everybody, I don't know if you've noticed this, and I'm sure you have. Everybody's so guarded right now about showing stuff too early. Because look at what they did with Cyberpunk, where they showcased the 48-minute gameplay segment. Me and Tyler were all over this. Like, this looks amazing. And then look at the game that, like, the state of the game that released when it did. And
I mean, that happens when you polish up.
Oh, sure.
48 minutes of gameplay instead of, well, this is me sitting in front of you playing the game.
Sure, absolutely. And I feel like everybody has watched that game be released and have...
Hype was real, dude. That game had hype.
It made $1 billion off it. This game paid itself off of their investment, off of the pre-orders alone. There was a lot of hype for this. It's not a terrible game, but it launched in a terrible state. That's the bad thing. Had this game come out and it was polished and good, it would be talked about right now still of, man, that was a good release. And instead what we have is a game that's being forgotten about.
Xbox re-released it.
It was Sony.
Sony, my bad. Sony put it back up on the store.
And it's back on the store with a warning label, don't play if you have a base PS4. It still has some issues. So they are recommending at least a Pro, which I played it on, and a PS5, which I had it installed, but it just kept updating, and I ran out of space. And so I got rid of it. I'm not even going to touch it again until the PS5 version comes out. There's no point in it. My experience wasn't earth-shatteringly bad, but that's the thing with Starfield. I wanted to see more, but I'm not surprised we didn't, because they want to hold that to the chest and they want to keep it close. And I bet that we will see more next year's. It's going to be the big thing at next year's E3 for Xbox, because this will be, and you and Will like definitely like poked the bear with this when I said this. It's an Xbox exclusive. Because
is it though? Is it?
It is, and I will defend my statement here on the air.
Xbox family.
It's Xbox exclusive because you have to have the Xbox app even on the PC to launch it. It's on the PC.
One of those things. It's one of those things that I totally understand what you're saying, but when you go into that perspective, you are right. You cannot get it on any other thing unless you are on an Xbox app.
So, number one.
But you cannot say it's a console exclusive.
It's a console exclusive. It's an Xbox console exclusive. Because you're not going to be able to get it on a PlayStation console or a Nintendo console. Because PC is... It's all in how you market it and how the words are.
I know.
If you're a console player, guess where you're going to play it? You're going to play it on Xbox, and that's the only place. If you're a PC gamer, odds are, Mike, you have Steam and you have Epic Game Store right now. You have Xbox. You're already in there. However,
I don't have Epic.
Oh, you don't have Epic?
I don't think so. Now you said it, and I have to look.
So,
go ahead, though.
But, okay, so say they release a big game. They partner up Epic or whatever, and you're like, damn, I want to play that. I guess I'm downloading the Epic Game Store. And then Epic puts out free games every week, typically. And sometimes they have a run where they put out big free games every single week. I haven't bought a single thing on Epic, but I do redeem the free games from time to time sometimes if I recognize one, or if it's like I redeemed NBA 2K21. Am I ever going to play it? Probably, most likely not. But I have access to it.
I do not have the... Oh, I do. It's right there.
Oh, right there in the corner. He has so many icons, right fellas. He can't see it.
No,
anyway.
I have everything separated and off in the corner. But, you know.
So, okay, so Starfield will be day one Game Pass. That means they're going to encourage you not to just buy the game, but to get Game Pass. To be a continual subscriber and for you to pay them money. Basically, if you're on PC, you're playing it in the Xbox ecosystem, and that is the crux. They're not making a lot of they don't turn a profit on their consoles. They turn money off of their software and subscription services. The argument can be made that Game Pass it still isn't financially viable because of how much they have to pay out and how much they are paying out to get a good, high-quality list of games. Because you and me sat here on the show one year, and we talked about the pluses and negatives between PlayStation Now and Game Pass. Having had both, Game Pass is trillions times more worth the money.
Tell you what, there's a couple games on here that I absolutely love. I still have Final Fantasy IX right here from it. Just because it was there, and they're like, it's going away. And I was like, you ain't going away from me. Download.
There you go. So Starfield, not a lot. It was there. It was cool, but then also like a letdown at the same time. I get it though. We are starting the dialogue with Xbox in control. They wanted to kick it off with something everyone's anticipating, and just start the dialogue with Bethesda saying, "It's coming, guys. Just wait. This year will be cool. We got a lot of stuff for you. Next year, though, buddy, hype train's coming for that game."
They should have started with the one that nobody knew was happening, and every single person was ecstatic for.
Well, sure. And
I about fell over when I watched it, and I was like, I gotta buy a new computer.
Yeah, we're definitely going to be talking about it, and but they also, so we saw more of that game that we haven't mentioned yet, Forza Horizon 5.
And Starfield.
No, then Halo Infinite. Now we saw multiplayer from Halo Infinite.
It's true.
I was a little discouraged, not even being a huge Halo fan, and I've said that before, that there was not much, if anything, shown from gameplay from the campaign. The multiplayer has always been its own beast, and it's always been a big driver for Halo, dating back all the way to the first one, and it really hit its stride on the second one, right? So it's important for them to show gameplay of multiplayer. I get it. I completely get it. You need, boom, we need this, we need it running, and let's do it.
It's like Call of Duty. I mean, they don't show the campaign. They only show the multiplayer because that's what almost everybody cares about.
Well, even the new Battlefield that's coming out this year, the 2042 or whatever it is, that's not even going to launch with a campaign. It's just going to be multiplayer. No. And I've seen some people upset about it, but then there's other people that are like, the multiplayer is the key driving point of that anyway. So let's just dive right in. And I'm over here going.
I mean, it's you really look at people that are like, I'm upset about the Battlefield campaign, and it's like, okay, so you're upset about the 5 or 4 hours of what you're going to start out playing, and then turn around and just play the multiplayer.
Yeah, me, I'm not going to play the multiplayer. I
mean, that's why you buy those games. You don't buy those games for the campaign. You buy them for the multiplayer.
See, there's actually a small number of people who do just play them for the campaign, and they don't really play online. They buy the Call of Duties to just play the campaign because they enjoy the gameplay, but they don't necessarily enjoy the online.
You remember
stuff.
Zach?
Mm-hmm.
Zach from the wedding?
Yeah.
He buys those games every year to only play the single player thing. So like he'll get on there just to get zombies. That's all he buys Call of Duty for. If it doesn't have zombies, he's not buying it.
And see, like, the majority of where they're going to make their money on is the multiplayer, so it's very important. So I get why Halo Infinite showed a lot of that. Little disappointed we didn't get to see any more from it, considering it's launching this year. I guess they did do it post E3. They did another little event where they showed more. But Halo Infinite was supposed to come out with this new Xbox, and they decided to hold it back, and I don't blame them for it. What's worse?
At least it didn't launching as a shitstorm.
If that game would have launched, and if it was in as bad shape as what the rumors are out there that it was in, then we would be looking and talking about a much different situation for Xbox as a brand. Not just, we already know the console sales are. I saw a chart the other day about how the sales are charting, as far as months and days gone by versus like whatever, but what they had is the PlayStation line. It was a graph. They had the Switch, they had the Xbox S and X, and the Xbox was in third place. It's not doing bad. Don't take that. Don't think about that. Like, it's not doing terrible. But the Switch is outpacing it in terms of time available versus, basically we're looking back in time for the Switch of when it launched and the timeline of how many it sold, like 6 months or whatever. The first 6 months of the Switch sold this amount. The PlayStation 5 is outpacing the Switch. On that line, you also see the Switch at about 9 months. So Mario Odyssey. Whoop. Just spike up. So we'll see if the PlayStation can keep it up. But the Xbox is in clear third place, and that's no surprise. If Halo Infinite launched with it and it was a complete turd sandwich, and they would be working to fix it, it would be just another problem. Whereas everybody who watched the Microsoft conference that I've heard from said nothing but good things about it. Everybody online who's commented on it so far has said nothing but good things about their conference. It was a good conference. They had their language right. They had the games. They had enough games, and they had enough games coming directly to Game Pass of the 3027. That is crazy.
It's unbelievable when you really think about it.
Yes.
Like, it's showing that you don't have to buy the games anymore.
And it's a wide variety. It's not just the shooters. It's more indie titles. It's more kid-friendly titles. It's Psychonauts. Psychonauts 2.
Grounded.
Yes, the 12 minutes, that game is coming, and so Halo itself, when it launches, will be on Game Pass. So there you are, the biggest game that they're going to release this year. No doubt about it. Even the big Forza one that we're going to gush about later. Sorry, it's not going to be as big as Halo. It just won't be.
You shut your whore mouth.
Facts are facts. There's going to be more people who want to buy Halo than buy Forza.
No, that's not true. Forza.
You're a Horza for Forza.
That's right. So Forza Horizon 4 is considered one of the greatest racing games of time.
I don't disagree with you. I love it. I'm in the same camp as you. I would be if you said, "Do you want Brando? Do you want to buy Halo or do you want to buy Forza this year, or just get Game Pass and play whichever one?" I'm gonna lean towards
Game Pass.
Yeah, well, number one, I'll be on Game Pass, so I'll technically just be able to play both. So I have to choose.
That's right.
But if Game Pass didn't exist and they're like 2 weeks apart, and I only have $60 or $70 in this case for the next gen, and it's like you can only buy one, Brandon. Which one do you buy? I'm buying Forza because I had so much fun with 4. 5 looks like more of that, but we'll talk about that. But so everybody's high on Xbox right now. Even the people who work at Xbox, Phil Spencer's like, "I personally, this is a quote, haven't felt this much excitement from the people who work here, plus the fans, since the 360 era." So he feels from all the moves that he made and his team has made during the entire generation of Xbox One, it's like we have arrived. We are going to be stiff competition for our competition, Sony, and we're bringing it. We're bringing it because we have
Nintendo's kind of sliding in there.
Xbox is like, hey, you know what? We got our consoles. Hey, you know what? We've got the PC gamers in on our stuff. Hey, you know what? We've got the mobile gamers. And now they're launching the streaming stick. They're going to have a little Fire Stick type device that you can stream Xbox games on Game Pass to your TV.
So that will be interesting to see. Because one, if you're you can go and buy an Elite controller. Okay, so I have an Elite controller. You can go buy a controller, or $40 controller now. They're like $45-$50 because the Xbox S series works with the new series, and you could literally buy the package for what is it probably $100? I bet it's gonna be like $140, $150. And all it's going to do is you can stream Game Pass, which we just stated, 27 of the 32 games are coming to Game Pass. So you're going to get the big hitters.
And it's already a better deal than Stadia. Because because Stadia, while maybe they were on the market first for this kind of deal, Xbox has the games. They got the games. So
and the thing is they were doing a really good job on stepping forward. Mm-hmm. And as he said, is we're looking at the games. We're looking at software. Software was out 2 years ago, and what are we finally seeing culminate? A lot more software.
Well, they bought a bunch of different guys or developers, so they did that. They did that so they could boost it, because they needed to. They needed some heavy hitters. Why do you think Sony picked up Insomniac when they did? To make sure Microsoft doesn't get them. Because they're great developers, and we need them on our side,
They had to. They didn't have a choice.
Also, one of the things that I liked from Microsoft was that Eiyuden Chronicles, this neat little new RPG, 2.5 point, old school perspective, but it's 2D graphics, but 3D graphics. I read that it's a Suikoden spiritual successor. There's the new one, 100 Heroes, but there's another one that's already out or is coming out, and those are going to be on Game Pass as well. I like that because it's showing you, hey, guess what, guys? We're going to have your shooters, we're going to have your racers, but here's this old school RPG that's going to be on the Xbox as well. So good on them. Good on them.
What's the name of that? I'll look it up and see if it's on here. Here, I got it. Never mind.
Eiyuden or Eiyuden. I'm not sure how you say it. Eiyuden Chronicles. It's EIU. Or
I got it.
EIYU. Yeah, it looks pretty neat, man. Like,
there's not one up now.
It looks kind of like I don't want to. It looks like it took some inspiration graphically from like the Octopath Traveler and what that series is doing over there. But my favorite trailer of the entire thing, Outer Worlds 2.
Watch that, and she's like, "That is phenomenal." She goes, "It understands how bad it is." Like the perspective of the gamer.
No, truly. I really enjoyed what I played of the first game, and I never beat it. I ended up falling off of it and playing something else. I really enjoyed it, and I need to get back to it because I'm going to want to play this new one. And this new one will be exclusive, once again, to the Xbox family of however you play, but it's going to be exclusive over there because now they own Obsidian. I thought Obsidian was working on something new, and I guess they're doing that and this because like this seems like it's a little bit ways away. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see anything about this again. We might see something in about a year or so, but I wouldn't expect this to launch until 2023. This was just they needed some things to say, hey, there's a lot of stuff to be excited about in our future. You know, here's a bunch of stuff that's coming out this year, and here's stuff beyond, and that's definitely beyond. But that trailer was awesome. I definitely laughed a lot at that one. Flight Simulator. It's coming to console.
If it can handle it, which it says it can. Because what I've seen, oh my God, that thing looks amazing on a 4K high def, 60 to 80 frames a second. Man, that looks good.
The cool thing about what they're able to do with these consoles, because while you could definitely trick out a PC and heavy out the settings, what they're able to push out of a console with a little bit less power is phenomenal. Like I'm still jaw dropped like that a game that looked as good as The Last of Us Part 2 graphically and its fidelity came out on the PS4 because it just because it pushed that to what it could do. That system should not have been able to do what it did, but they found corners to cut. They found ways to push the console because when you set up your PC, you are the master of your PC. You're the guy that tweaks this and does all this stuff. When it's for console, it's now on the developer side. This is what we have. This is how we got to push it. And if you put the two side by side, you're going to notice. You're going to notice a drop here and there. Maybe whatever setting. It could just be something as simple as like, well, the ray tracing's better on the PC version because it has more computing power to be able to put that in. That doesn't mean the console one won't have it there. You're going to be sitting there on your TV and it's going to look so
it's going to look phenomenal either way.
Exactly. It's just that when you're sitting at your computer and your monitor right here in front of you, closer, it's going to pop even more. But
the thing is when you look at comparing the two,
mm-hmm.
you have one that's trying to be affordable.
Yeah.
And then one that doesn't care.
Yeah.
So it's all about the person.
Yep.
So you're looking at, they're just trying to get a console to every single household.
Yep.
Just the availability to play versus me, who sits over here for months waiting for one thing to buy, of like all 7 of the items that I require. So I have some of the other ones already. But I'm wanting to build that at the top level. And I'm willing to put the thousands of dollars in it versus $500 for a console. That's the difference. So, you're never going to, as they say, PC master race. They're always probably going to be the master race because technology moves with them, not with the consoles. It's moving with the high end. They're catching up. But this generation is freaking close to PC.
And the only thing that's holding it back right now is its availability.
And you know what? That's everywhere though right now.
That's
during
it.
The pandemic.
That's everywhere. That's the consoles. That's even the PC Master Race's issue too with those graphics cards, right?
Oh, you can't. You couldn't buy a graphics card if you're standing in line for. I watched a guy stand in line for 12 hours, and they only had one.
So why?
So he didn't get the one he wanted. He got a different one.
Yeah. What else did they show? Did they show Diablo 2 on here?
They showed Diablo 2, and we've seen a bunch of it. They've been putting it out there. Blizzard's been putting it out there all the time, but they gave it an official release date. That's what's important with that.
And I didn't catch that. Did you see when that was?
I don't remember, but I do know because I can just click on BattleNet here and click on games and Diablo 2 Resurrection. Actually, come on, tell me when you're gonna do it.
I got it for you, did.
September 24th.
24th. Says here the 23rd, so 23rd, 24th. It's coming out for
it says on or before.
Okay.
September 24th is what it states here.
So
that's buying it through the BattleNet.
It's coming out. It's coming out on the Xbox One, and the new Series X, PS4, PS5, and Nintendo Switch. So think about that. To me, that's a no-brainer. Even though you're going to get the biggest graphical fidelity you can on the next gen, get it for the Switch if you have a Switch. Now you have Diablo 2 portable.
Diablo 2's phenomenal. The game is phenomenal. I'm hoping they don't change a lot because there are a couple of exploits. I know that they've added larger bag, the availability to use your stash on all your characters instead of having a mule. Anybody that's played the game knows when you play online, you have to have one character that you literally load in, dump all your crap, take another one, pick it up, transfer it over, dump it, move it back. It's a pain in the ass. They fixed that.
So next up, Forza Horizon.
It's Horizon.
Yeah, Forza Horizon 5. So
I just watched the trailer again.
So
the trailer, not the presentation.
Okay.
There's a big difference.
I didn't know they were making this because we knew that Playground was making the new Fable.
Right.
And typically when they release the Forzas, they do mainline Horizon. They go back and forth. Well, that's not what they're doing this time. We got Horizon 4, now we're getting Horizon 5. And I have a theory about this. And so if you'll entertain me for a second, I feel like they decided to go ahead and split the team up. You guys are going to start on Fable, get that rolling. We are going to do a new Horizon 5 based off what we've already done. So it's just going to be improved for new graphics. They're not going to slouch. They're not going to do any of that. But because this is probably not going to be a departure from where we've been, you can use less team members to do it. And I think that's because of two reasons. Because then you get a head start on Fable. You give the Forza Motorsport guys a little bit more time to fine-tune their next-gen offering. And when that comes out, your jaw is going to drop with how clean that game looks. Because every year, it's almost like every time they release a new Forza, it's a competition between it and Gran Turismo. Not necessarily in the gameplay, but with how pretty does it look.
Well, let's put it this way. That's all Gran Turismo's had going for the last couple of years.
There you go.
So they got to make it pretty.
They have to make it pretty, but Forza, like every new Forza game looks just phenomenally, graphically, fidelity-wise, just crazy. So I think we're going to get Horizon 5 this year. Next year we might get the next, Motorsport. But that gives them, or we might not even get that next year. We might even get a year after that. It depends on how long they're going to support Horizon 5. We don't know. But I feel like they did that so that way they have a buffer of time. So that way then they can be like, all right, now that this is out, smaller team, you're going to continue to support Horizon 5. All you guys headstrong on Fable. And then they're going to hit Fable hard. And then by the time they're done with that and ready to get close, not as in shipping, then they're going to start breaking away to start working on the Horizon 6. But then you have the team that's finishing up. It's just like reallocating people, do this rotating. And I feel like since they're going to be taking on the task of making their first non-racing game, they want to have a little bit of time to work on it. And I feel like, hey guys, we can push out another Horizon game and it's going to be amazing. We can do that. But then after that, we are doing something new and different, and it's going to be a palate cleanser.
I have a theory.
Go for it.
That is different from yours.
Okay.
I do agree with everything about Fable, 100%. Like, take your time. They probably want to take their time. They definitely have the open world and like the environment stuff down. They need to work on the RPG element. It's a completely different game. But I think we're going to see them move further away from Forza Motorsport.
You think so?
One, more people stopped playing the other one to play Horizon because it was so close to sports. Yeah, it's arcadey. You can smash stuff up, you can drive. But it also had an element in there that they added in where, like, when you do that, it slows you down. So you could drive like you could in motorsports. I mean, obviously, they're not fine-tuning the precision of the cars and stuff like that. But it's freaking close. And most of the guys that I drove with on there and stuff, that they were like, yeah, we don't even touch that anymore because this is so much fun. Why would we go back to it? Mm-hmm. And you could have your races there. You can make, the fact that this one you're going to be able to make your own tracks, and that's going to change it all. Which they took that little information from Gran Turismo, Grand Theft Auto, and was like, everybody that's like one of the most favorite things about Grand Theft Auto right now is like, you can make all these crazy things, and they're like, well, we can do that.
Right.
They've done, I feel like that you're going to see more of them shift to the arcade, but shift in more of the motorsports. So I think that's going to come to a point where both these are going to be one thing, where you're going to have, hey, you want to do the tracks and stuff, you have the option to do the tracks and stuff, but you also have this.
Yep.
That's what I think they're going to do.
So Playground has like 200 plus people working for them in 2 locations. So
they're a good team.
They have the technology and they have the people.
There's some stuff that I want to note about the Forza that when I watched it, I was like, it gave me goosebumps for what they did, not how it looks, because let's just face it.
Yeah,
it looks amazing. But they went out and put cameras up in random locations that they wanted, and they filmed 24 to 48 hours in 12K resolution. Super sampled it down in all these locations. They said that, I can't remember how many. There's a number, but holy crap, dude, that's amazing to put that much effort into an arcade game. It's not a simulator. It's not Forza Motorsports where, like, Gran Turismo. Don't mind the dogs. The mail's here.
No, dude.
I think,
like, the improvements that they made, that they showed off, were just phenomenal. And not just graphically, like you said, the game was we already knew it was going to look great because this was going to be Even though this game is probably going to launch on the original Xbox One consoles, because think about it, anything that's developed for the next year and a half is going to have almost all of them going to have an Xbox One or PS4 counterpart, because you have that many millions of consoles out there, and with new consoles hard to get, why would you not put the game out there? Because there's going to be people who are like, I'm just going to wait for 2024. That's when I'm going to buy the new one. And then that's what they're going to put in their mind. In 3 years, I'll buy the new console. In the meantime, I have a backlog of games to play. I have the new games that are going to come out. You know, Sony's going to release the next God of War and Horizon on the PS4. So you have games. So, like, if you want a new console, go for it. But you don't need to. You don't necessarily need to. And with Xbox, you have plenty of options to choose from. If you can't get a hold of an Xbox, you have options. You can build a PC. That's expensive as well. Or you can stream them. I did do the beta testing for the streaming on mobile when it did it, and I played Forza Horizon 4. And I'll be damned if me trying out Halo Reach ran rougher than Forza Horizon 4 did. Halo Reach was a 360 game, and I'm like, I'll do the 360 one because it's an older game, so it's going to be better. And it was a little twitchy, like you're streaming it, so it's not going to be perfect. And then I'm like, oh man, this kind of sucks. Okay, well, if this didn't do well, let me launch Forza. And it was like I was playing it on the TV. I had my phone set up, and I just had my controller in my hand, and it was flawless. And I'm like, if they get
go ahead.
No, if they get all the other stuff working like that for that, then $100, $150 streaming. Why would you not make it $100 if the controllers are $60 to buy, and then another $40 for the stick? I mean, a typical Fire Stick is like $30, so like $100, you're now gaming on your TV with Game Pass. It sounds like we're shilling for Microsoft. We're not. We're just excited to the fact that they are giving people options. They're no longer putting all their eggs into one basket. I would love for PlayStation to do this, but they're not going to. They're that old school mentality. And let's also say, before you have your say, it's not a wrong thing for them to do, because look how many PS4s they sold. Take it away.
So, with those statements, one, the Horizon 4 game and code, how smooth and beautiful it is. Like, it's literally, when you have a game, in my opinion, when somebody tells me this is the greatest racing game of our time. So I've been around since almost the inception of racing games. To say that about something, and then you sitting here saying, you know, it runs great on the streaming service. That's amazing to me, that they got everything right. Like, you don't ever see that anymore, where it, like, every line is just like perfect. It's perfectly straight. But I recall me and you a couple of years ago complaining about the way gaming is moving. Do you recall these conversations deeply at work and very passionately?
I do.
And we're both sitting here saying, you know what? They're going in the right direction. But I remember when we were both like, you can't do this. Give me the physical. No. But they're giving options. That was the difference.
Yes.
There wasn't an option. They wanted to say, streaming. It's over. That's all you're going to get. Or download, digital.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong. I feel like in the near future, that's all we're going to have. That's going to be our options. There's plenty of reasons why they haven't completely gone that way yet. Internet availability across the country, all that jazz. You know, I am now and I don't know if I've said this on the show, I'm starting to sell off some of my collection. I'm downsizing it. I enjoy my collection. I love my collection. Who doesn't want a copy of this awesome little title called Baroque? But do I need a copy of Baroque? No, I don't. Do I need ATV Offer of Furies 1, 2, and 3 over there? Just because I like them, yes, but I don't need them.
And watch this. Do you really need a original full copy of Chrono Trigger?
Yes, I do. I do need that. I just
wanted to name one. I wanted to name one that you're like,
so
there's no way I will ever part with this. It's going in my grave.
Well, I don't know if you've seen the average price now, Mike. You've now derailed the show. Thank you very much. Do you know what that's going for? On average, not what it is. Complete in box, $922.
How much?
$900. It just dropped down. It just updated. It dropped down to $810. Yesterday, when I loaded this up, and I loaded it up right now, it's going for, according to Game Eye, as of today, it went down $100, but these are average sales. Somebody, like, it was $922. The manual, on average, sells for $85 right now.
That's unbelievable.
The loose cartridge is now up to $214.
It's insane.
So, I'm now of the mindset of, if I like the game and love it, I'm going to buy it. In fact, last year during the pandemic, for a couple of games, I double dipped because they weren't going to get to me on time. You know that. FF7, Last of Us Part 2, I did that. You know, those games I had pre-ordered that were slowed shipping weren't going to get to me on time, and I wanted to play them that bad and had the extra money. I don't now because of the same thing that's going on with shipping that's now affecting my place of work. I couldn't do it now. I could do it then. Hooray me, I guess. But I'm downsizing some stuff. I'm going to buy the stuff I want to buy. I did buy Mass Effect physical. I did not last year. I didn't buy MLB The Show on physical. They had a half off sale on the digital store.
Oh.
So I got it for $30, and I wasn't sure if I was going to like it. You know, there for a while until they completely dropped the ball on making a good game. One of my guilty pleasures, you have guilty pleasures at all gamers do, but I'm really big into the wrestling games. I have a lot of fun with them. And I would wait until July when the season pass is included for $30. The whole thing, the whole package, $30. I buy last year's game, I get everything with it, and I don't spend $90. I spend $30.
Sure.
And it's digital. I don't need to have another copy of another wrestling game on my shelf. So for me, I'm finding areas where I can cut those corners and save my own physical space. Are you telling me that I won't be buying FF7 Remake Part 2, whatever it's called? Am I going to buy that just digital? No. Trust me. They released a new steelbook for the Integrate version that just came out that's got Yuffie on it, and I'm like, I don't need it. I'm talking myself out of it.
I wish you could buy just a steelbook.
I wish you could too.
If you could buy the steelbook, I would buy more of the steelbooks because I am big on steelbooks personally.
Yep, I got the Mass Effect one when I ordered it from Best Buy, so it's got like a pretty cool design, and I think I have another one coming because the collector's edition that I bought with the helmet also includes a steelbook. So I don't know if it's the exact same design or if it's a different one. Probably is the same design. But now you have the Sephiroth steelbook design for the original FF7 on PS4, and the new one has Yuffie and so on, whatever his name is. But no, it just, to reiterate, to get the train back on the tracks, options. I love that Xbox is giving you options. I'm a console gamer. I hook myself up to the TV. I've tried to hook this laptop up to the TV and play FF9 with the mods, which looks phenomenal. I loved it. My Microsoft branded controller didn't like it. Yeah.
Well, I can't. I can't say much because, my Xbox Elite Series 2 controller does not want to hook up to my computer unless it's plugged in.
So I've got kids. I've got a 6-year-old, damn near, and like a 1.5-year-old. And you know what they do a lot? You have dogs. So I'm sure you understand. They run back and forth. And I can't have... I can sit here in my room and game, but I get uncomfortable. This year is comfortable, but after a while sitting here like this, I don't like that.
Yeah, that's just...
I don't know. It makes me. It really suffers my sciatic nerve. I push on it and it hurts. Anyway, so the whole controller situation was like, there are times when I'm gaming. This is another reason why I'm not a currently a modern day multiplayer gamer. But you've known me long enough to know I wouldn't play anyway. I have to take extended pause breaks. Mass Effect 2 or 3, whatever it is. I guarantee you I have 20 hours of pause time. Because there was one time just the other day, I started playing and then realized, oh, crap, it's near their dinner time. So I paused, put on a movie, and they ate and watched the movie, and then they watched the whole movie. And I didn't play again until they went to bed I started the movie at 6 o'clock, I didn't play again until 8:30. And the game just set pause the whole time. So, for example, playing FF9 on my computer, hooked up to the TV. Everything's going good. It's going cool, man. You know, I got those mods. It looks sweet. But I need to take a pause break. I need to help out. I need to be a parent. You know how things go. You got dogs. Sometimes you got to stop and do stuff. Put the controller down. It disconnects. And I go turn it on. Half the time, it wouldn't repair with my computer. And I had to completely uninstall it and reinstall it for the Bluetooth.
Listen. That is a common theme with Xbox controllers. And that's why I gave up.
I hate it. I absolutely hate it. It pissed me off.
I gave up.
I quit playing.
That's why I plug it baby in and sit here and play, because I play in this chair anyway. So
I played FF9 until the beginning of Disc 3, and then I quit because I'm like, I'm done. I'm playing something else right now. Like, I got so angry at it that I'm just, it was multiple times a night that either when I first started playing, it wouldn't do it, or it would be, I quit playing and now it won't reconnect. Or it would be, oh crap, I need to switch out the battery charger thing. Cause I have one internal battery charger and I have 2 controllers and I just switch it out. So like, or I'll put it onto the charger. I'm like, oh crap. I had a couple of AA's in just so I could play, so I could charge it. And I'm like, I need to switch it out. I just switched it out. So it turned the controller off and now it won't work again. There are things that push me away from PC, and that's fine. I've never enjoyed it. I don't like tinkering with it. That's my own personal preference. I have options. I can play. I can get a console. I can get a stream stick. I can play on my mobile. I played Forza on my mobile phone. It's awesome. But we beat this dead horse past death at this point. Overall, there's a lot of stuff we didn't talk about on the Xbox stuff. But what'd you think about it? Was it cool? Like, did you think it was a good show?
Yeah, I mean, really the only things that I cared about was Starfield and Forza.
They got that new multiplayer game. Again, not my thing, but it's like, was it Redfall? It's like the vampire 4-person multiplayer game.
I didn't care to watch it.
It's
when
made...
I saw a brief portion of it, because I kind of skimmed over the thing, and I was like, don't care, move on.
Okay. Well, it was made by the same team that did Prey and Dishonored. So they're doing a multiplayer shooter type game with vampires. The other stuff that wasn't a part of either Xbox or Nintendo, Square Enix didn't have a really good show. They showed some stuff from Guardians, which is like a new game made in the same style as the Avengers game that got released. I don't really care. I'll be honest with you.
I didn't either. I didn't care.
I saw it and was like, okay, there's some cool stuff here, but I'm moving on. I don't really care. I got really angry at Square when they revealed the Final Fantasy 1 through 6 pixel remasters. So, and then it said it's coming to Steam and mobile. One of the things I wanted that I need from Square. And this is
It's not want,
it's
guys.
It's
a need. He started as a want and then said need because he deeply needs this.
I want Final Fantasies 1 through 6 in a collection physical on one disc for the PS4. Then you have to be PS5. Why do I want them? Why do I want them? Okay. I can play the original.
It hurts my soul that you said for the PS4.
Oh, come on. That's where it doesn't need to be on 5. It doesn't need to be on 5.
No. Just not on PlayStation at all.
It needs to be on Switch.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
It needs to be on Switch.
It needs to be where it came from.
Well, we need to have some multiple love. Like, everybody's loved here. We're like a polyamorous gamer. So, like...
Yes. I feel like, though, just personally, for me, if you put it on the Switch...
No, it's perfect.
Or the next one, it's perfect because you can still have it here. You can have it here. There's no reason not to put it on a PlayStation. Don't get me wrong, guys. But I'm just saying, personally for me, I'd rather have it on what it originally came on, which would be a Nintendo product.
No, I get you. I absolutely get you.
They would be able to do it right.
And really, it's all pixelated. It's all 2D, so what's the point anyway? You don't need to have high fidelity. I get it. No, I'm with you, and honestly, it being portable, you would have done enough to convince me there. But it needs to be playable on modern systems. And you can get the games on Steam. You can get those, but they're the mobile versions. They're not really great. They're trying to make them look more like the original NES and pixelated versions. And so I found out more information. Final Fantasy 1 through 6 will be released individually. So each one's going to cost like $15 and be the pixel remaster version.
Just wait a year. They'll bundle them together and sell it on Steam for like $60.
Sure.
They always do.
The only thing notable here is that FF3, if FF3 is in there, and I mean the original, not 6, made 3 here in the States, that'll be the first time that the States have got that version, because there was a lot of problems with the source code, and that's why they ended up just remaking the game when that time came, like for the DS. And that's why they didn't do it on the PS1 version. Like where they did 1 and 2, and then 4 and Chrono Trigger, and 5 and 6. Why'd you do 4 and Chrono Trigger? 3 was, they didn't want to put that much work into putting 3 out. That's too much work. They couldn't find the code. Nobody had copies of it. And they said, nope. What should we do? Chrono Trigger. So,
which you can't argue.
No. No, great game. Just those are bad ports. They're not really great ports for that system. I just want them current. So then Square is like, well, here's this new Final Fantasy game called Final Fantasy Origin: Stranger in Paradise. And it's very... did you ever hear the game like Nioh? Spelled Nioh. It's like a Square Enix made, almost... It's pretty close to like Souls style action game. That's kind of what this is. They released a demo. It was like time demo, and then it didn't work. And I guess they did re-release it, and it does work. So Final Fantasy Origin is this new action style game set in a version of the original Final Fantasy world. So it's a different take. I really have no real opinion on it. I saw the gameplay. I actually watched somebody playing the demo. I don't really. It's hack and slashy to me. It's there. It did nothing to impress me.
I will say this: do whatever they want on that. Where's our other stuff? I don't care what you do. If that's what you want to do for another team, that's fine. Where's 16? Where is my information about 7? Mm-hmm. Because that's what matters. Yuffie DLC, cool. Thanks for screwing me over and not putting on PS4. I'm not buying a 5. And that really pisses me off, because I would like to see the Yuffie. I'd like to play it. I can see it, obviously. You can watch anybody play it. I would personally like to experience it first time around. But I'm not going to go out there and stand in line to try to get a 5 that I'm not going to have because you have nothing on it. Sorry, Sony. That's just the way it is.
So I don't remember anything else. I think, it might have been wait, and see, now what I'm remembering is not even what they did at E3. It was the Dragon Quest thing that they did, where it was like the remake of Dragon Quest 3, and like that in that same Octopath style of new 2D remake graphic style. So that stuff wasn't even there because they had already covered it. But outside of Square, the Capcom one was all just DLC. We're working on DLC, fellas. We're like, thumbs up. Cool.
Yeah, you know what? You already released pretty good games, so
yep.
I accept this. Work on the DLC, and work on your, secretly work on your next entries. We know we're getting one of the old style.
Yeah, something.
Well, not old style. It's the 2 and 3, like Resident Evil 2 and 3 style.
We're getting something, but we don't know.
Third person.
Yeah, we don't know exactly what's coming just around the bend yet. Elsewhere, Elden Ring. Did you watch the Elden Ring thing?
I think it looks cool, but I also think that he needs to work on his fucking book.
Okay, so Elden Ring is is being made by From Software, who does the Souls games, and it's also George R.R. Martin. So they're teaming up to do a game. He needs to finish his book and get that out there.
Sorry for the language. I apologize for the language, but it needs... Finish your book.
Finish the book, man. Finish the damn book. You had a pandemic and you didn't finish the book. You stayed at home.
We don't need, somewhere around in here, we don't need 500 pages of backstory. Finish the books. Give us our story.
Well, I just hope...
Make it better than the show.
Well, I hope for his... I'm going to laugh if he writes it and he goes, no, they nailed the ending. And people will just flip their desks.
That is supposed to be how it ends. Like that last... Everything that's what I understand.
Mm-hmm.
The battle of Winterfell.
Yeah.
And the original outcome, the very last episode, is basically how it's supposed to end.
Yeah. It's just, they didn't have enough time to dedicate to really fault. Anyway, Elden Ring.
We digress again. Moving on.
Elden Ring looks pretty cool, but it's probably not going to be something that I dig into. They're making an Avatar game, Frontiers of Pandora. I have nothing to really say about this other than here we are. We're getting an Avatar game well after the fact that the first movie came out. This is probably hype for the second game or movie that's coming out within the next year.
Was it like a first one-player game?
I think it's a one-player game.
Okay, so they're really not doing what they should do, and you've got the 5 elements, and they should make it an MMO.
Are we talking about the new same Avatar? We're not talking about same Avatar.
We're talking about. You're right. We're not. I digressed. I changed. I switched over because it's what I want. Sorry.
So you're talking about Last Airbender. This is the.
Yes.
This is the Pocahontas ripoff.
The redo of Ferngully. That's what it is.
Ferngully. So that they're making a new movie that was supposed to come out this year, but it got pushed back. And they're making this game, and apparently, I think Ubisoft's making it. This is what Will told me. This guy that we work with, named Will, cool guy. We're gonna have him on the show at some point, and it'll be crazy.
I got to be on there because we got to get him going.
Oh, yes, we do. He told me that Disney were so impressed by their Avatar game that's how Ubisoft got hold of a Star Wars property. Because now EA no longer has a lock on that. And that's how Ubisoft got to make their own Star Wars game.
All I care about is that it's not locked into EA.
There you go. I'm with you on that one. So, there's a lot of other stuff that kind of was in and out. But I'm going to switch over to Nintendo. Because that's the thing that I really care about. That Guardians game.
Go over the other thing. Go over the other stuff so we hit the big 3.
for Nintendo, that new Guardians game is coming straight to the Switch, which is cool. Cool. Do it. Because what this tells me is that this game isn't really forward on its graphically fidelity. It's got to play good. So instead of it coming out months later or a year later, it's coming out straight out of the gate. So there's that. Another game that's coming out months later for the Switch, Tony Hawk 1 and 2. Not mad about it.
Still got to buy that.
Not mad about it. It's coming out as we record this. And today's the 23rd, so it's coming out I think next week. But
here's something that I know that you're noticing. We've discussed this before. Nintendo is slowly getting a third-party games.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
it's a little slower, but with their next console iteration, I bet that time will be okay. Let's develop for all of them now.
Well, when you have enough game console sales,
it helps.
It helps because Nintendo Switch is sitting at 84.5 million, 84.6, and they're just behind the PS3. And then after that, it's the Wii, and after that, it's the PlayStation, and then it's the PS4, then it's the PS2. So it's like you're in good company, and you have that many systems sold. You're going to see companies be more willing to put a game out. If it doesn't sell the greatest, that's okay. It's just it's available for that market.
Right. I definitely need to play the Tony Hawks.
Also, a new Mario and Rabbids game. That's cool. Awesome. That's it's always great. It's always great because it
did really well. The first one did.
Yeah, and then it's that XCOM style of and you would never expect that with Mario. It's almost like, to me, that kind of departure is reminiscent of 25 years ago when they first did the first Mario RPG. It was not typical. So awesome stuff there.
I'm sorry, but they need to do that one again.
Please.
What?
Please. That's a team up.
Pray to the gods.
Yeah. That is a team up with Square that we need to see. A complete redo of the original Mario RPG.
Good Lord, can you imagine what that would be like?
No,
he says, nah.
My expectations would be too high, unfortunately. You know what I mean?
I think that they would nail it.
I would hope so. Anyway, speaking of RPGs, Switch is getting exclusively the new Shin Megami Tensei game. So the fifth one's coming out. This has been around for about 15 years or so. They're the same group that makes the Persona games. The Persona games are like an offshoot of Shin Megami Tensei.
Sure. But they do a lot better, though.
They are more palatable, but I just think it's cool that the Switch is getting that one exclusive. They're also doing Advance Wars 1 and 2 remakes from the old Game Boy Advance game. That's cool. I saw that.
I think it's really neat.
I saw that and was all for that. And
there's not much you got to do to the game.
No.
I mean, I played through the first and second one all the way through. And it's good.
Yeah. It's great stuff. One thing that was notable is that there's a new Wii U exclusive coming to the Switch. I think it's coming to the other consoles as well. But it was the Fatal Frame Maiden of the Blackwater. It was released for the Switch, for the Wii U, because you took pictures with the gamepad. So I wonder how they're going to get around the gameplay of that. But it's notable. Yet another Wii U exclusive coming to Switch. Maybe some other ones. But we're down to the last two. I mean, so first, do you want to do
Zelda?
Okay, let's do that one first. Because Zelda, first of all, they're like, hey, DLC for the new Hyrule Warriors that is set in the Breath universe. Cool, awesome.
Just cool. Yep, that's awesome.
Let's do more. But then we got our first gameplay look at Breath of the Wild 2. And a released window.
More of the same.
It's more of the same.
They had a good. The thing is like, I like it when companies use the same platform. Like Breath of the Wild was amazing. Yep. They did great. It's their first true open world Zelda game. When I mean open world, I mean there's no linear path. You could just here. You could do that in the other ones, but you can't do other dungeons without doing the other dungeon. So you still have an order to a degree. You can't go here without going here. But Breath was a phenomenal game. They did a great job with everything with it. And what I like is that there's more story.
Absolutely. And see, when you combine Breath, the Hyrule Warriors thing, and then this new one, you're gonna have even though the Breath games themselves are gonna be more tightly gameplay to get together, but I really like that because you get they're expanding this story more than they have any of the other entries. And so, and for one of them, they're like, hey guys, you guys make a really good game. Can you do this part of our thing? So,
Right.
I'm definitely down for that. We got a 2022 release window. I bet it's in fall of 2022. That's my bet. I would be more than surprised if they're like, hey guys, spring. So we get here we are
Early.
Yeah, so here we are halfway through the year of 2021, and then in November or January, they're like, and here's a new look at the new Zelda game. And then we get a new trailer. We're like, okay, cool. And then it's March 31st. What?
I already know what's going to happen. I'm going to tell you what's going to happen, and you're going to be like, you right. They're going to go Breath of the Wild 2, new trailer. They're going to play it, and you're going to holy crap, this looks cool. Coming out this time on the new Switch.
I have already, I've already thought
there.
that if they're going to do the new Switch, which they haven't said no to, they just won't say yes to.
The fact that the people are talking about, it's not a dev kit, but if I pick up my Switch right now, I can show you the last patch allows 2K to 4K framing. I can't do that on my Switch. It's not powerful enough. So why do you care?
There you go.
That's all I gotta say. People have pointed out the small things that they've been doing. Upgrade software. They're already upgrading their software to incorporate a new, more powerful system. So Nintendo's just kind of sitting here going, "You got us, but we ain't gonna say nothing.
Yeah,
we gonna wait."
And that's typical Nintendo MO.
Nintendo, yeah.
Yeah. So no, I'm definitely hyped for that, and it's closer than we think. I feel. I still think it's gonna be fall because why would you? You don't need to push it out at the end of this fiscal year, which would be March 22. You don't need to do that because I feel like they have enough coming out that would be able to sustain them, unless they have. It's all about timing, and it's all about, is the game ready, and what else are we cooking that we are not telling people about? I think there is a new Mario game or whatever. I think there is. There's rumors of the same people who did Mario Odyssey making a Donkey Kong game. So we're gonna get what they did to bring Mario 64 quotes, because it's not an exact 1-to-1, but bring that same feel back with Odyssey. Imagine if they did that with Donkey Kong, and so we have a new Odyssey-style Donkey Kong game. That'd be great.
I am truly thinking that you're right, but I also think that they're also working on a new Mario game. I think we're going to get all this stuff. We're going to get, hey, look, guys, this is what we're doing. Here's a brief look at it. Like they have been doing before. Mm-hmm. They're always here's Odyssey coming out, blah, 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 blah. But the half step is going to be, here is this on this.
Yep.
Here is this on this. It's going to be available on both of them, but this is it on this. You're Absolutely. Not going to get these graphics, and it's brilliant to do. But I still feel like that they're building, they just got finished with their 60 gig chips, and they're looking to move higher to the 100 chips.
Yep.
So
we're here, Mike.
We're here at the inception, and I have a revelation that I went through with this when I complained about the other one. But go ahead.
Okay, so they came out and they're like, "We're still working on Metroid Prime 4,"
and that's my complaint.
We're still working on it, and we'll be excited to show it to you when it's ready. But in the meantime, we're really happy to introduce something that's going to bring us back to the Metroid universe in a different way. And it is a brand new 2D, the old school Metroidvania style, like the Super Metroids and all that stuff really popularized. And it is Metroid 5, a.k.a. Metroid Dread. It is the first brand new entry that's going to continue the story from Metroid, Metroid 2, Super Metroid, Metroid Fusion. Now it's Dread. I saw that and went, that's awesome, because I see where they started to mess with this. Obviously, with the remake of Metroid 2 on the 3DS, they took that, what they learned, expanded it, and here we are. So,
are you waiting for me? Just tell me when I'm ready to unleash the cannon.
What did you think about it? What did you think about it?
So, now that I've watched it a few times, I'm going to say this. So, there's nobody on here that's ever watched this or heard this podcast before that doesn't know. If you're looking at this, it shows right here on my shirt that Super Metroid is one of my top games of all time.
Yep.
Period. Always will be. That's the way it is. But I wanted the Prime 4 game because I wanted another Metroid game. I loved Samus Returns. It was fresh, but it was old. I feel like it was better because if you played the original, it's kind of rough.
It's on the Game Boy, so
it's on the Game Boy. It's kind of rough. This is actually what I wanted more of. A 2D. Just go back to the original formula and play it through. And the more and more I watch it, the more and more I'm more excited for it than I am for 4. I definitely want a 4. Don't get me wrong. I want as much Metroid as you'll give me. But this is one where I can sit down and play it because I have a slight obsession with 100% completion. Now, I'm not one of those dudes that's 100 completion in 2 hours. It's not going to happen, okay? No. But I love them. I love to look in. I loved Super Metroid and how there was all these little small nooks and crannies as where you've been 30 different times. And you get to see, oh, there's a little room to the side of this. I love that. So I am very excited, very happy, and I'm actually a little bit surprised at how far along it is.
I've got news on that.
But after the interview, hold on. But after his interview, and him saying that he specifically picked this company to redo Samus because he wanted to redo it, but he wanted to see how well they would redo it because he wanted to move forward with this idea, which he has actually been working on longer than the Prime series.
Yep.
So,
the news I have is Dread was conceived as a DS game, original DS game, in the mid-2000s, but canceled due to technical limitations. A message found in Metroid Prime 3 Corruption was interpreted as reference to Dread, though game director Mark Pacini claimed that it was coincidental. Critics expressed interest in a new side-scrolling Metroid game and listed Metroid Dread in their most wanted list. This is one of the biggest hitters out of the entirety of E3. And so, just like what you said, Yoshio Sakamoto was really impressed with the work of Mercury Steam, and it led to them getting the nod to do this project. And
like I said, he says he seeked them out on purpose because he thought that they could make Dread.
Mm-hmm. And so here we are, and it's coming out October 8th of this year. We're just a few months away from it already. And did you not know that part, or?
I did. I forgot.
So
I've got to pre-order my European Because we all know that the collector's edition comes from Europe.
Well, yeah, the collector's edition with Steelbook is up. They're also doing a Mike. Mike, are you with me?
Right.
They're doing Amiibo.
Fuck. Okay. Sorry again for the language.
But no, it looks awesome. I'm with you, dude. I like this interest in new but old. It's the same thing that we talked about with those RPGs. They're new but they're old. The Dragon Quest, that one Suikoden series, Euden or whatever it is. It's new but it's old. This is going to be more of that same. I really enjoyed the trailer. I'm hyped for it. And I'm so happy that, that old school version of the series, we get to love on this right here, Mike, while we wait for the for Prime 4. Because we all know Prime 4 is going to be a different beast. It's going to be its own thing, and it's going to be great for what it is. But at its core, what Metroid used to be, I'm excited for this one. So
I'm a little pissed because I wasn't ready for this. Its special edition's already gone.
Oh man, you should.
Amazon does not have a collector's edition. I have to look at the collector's edition.
Well, I'll keep my eye out. I'll keep my eye out and help you out. But that's about everything. So like, a lot of people are asking, who was Nintendo better, Xbox better? I honestly, I think both brought it. I think both brought it, and it's for the first time. I'm not going to pick a real winner. I mean, other than gamers, I'm going to say it was a tie between them because they both brought everything that they could possibly want to show and give you just enough to be excited for and beyond. And we have new stuff kind of on the horizon. EA, there's rumors about PlayStation doing an event here soon, and so yeah, man, I'm super happy. It's a great time to be a gamer. Great games coming out. And it was going to sit down here and actually get to record a full podcast with you to talk about it and not get interrupted. Yeah, we had issues, snafu issues if you made it this far. We tried to record the episode before, and about 10 minutes in, it just blew. Using Zoomed.
20. Zoom blue screened me.
Yep, blue screened him. So.
And I wasn't on the app. I was on the browser.
We had some issues.
It literally shut me down.
So this time we switched back to the old school Discord. So that's what we did. Hopefully, quality is good for you guys.
And reliability.
Yep. And you know what? It held up. The old reliable came into the clutch. But Mike, if that's everything, that's all I got for today, man. I'm excited for stuff to come.
Yeah, that's all I got from it.
All right. Well, guys, we hope you enjoyed our little breakdown and our thoughts about E3. Even though we were in disarray, we jumped all over the place. That's kind of what we do anyway. That's how we talk in real life. It is
true.
It is what it is. We're all over
hours though. You guys get the watered down version. It's usually like a couple of quarters. So a quarter for us is 2 hours.
Oh, dude. Like typically we don't bother to stop the offshoot and rein ourselves in. So you guys are getting us condensed.
Don't talk about wrestling.
Hey.
And ask if you could give me a complete list from the inception to current on title holders, on belt holders.
Well, that's neither here or there, Mike. You know you bring it up. Anyway, guys, we hope you enjoyed this episode of Game X Podcast. We know we enjoyed bringing it to you. Of course, you check us out on all those social medias. We're there. We're on the podcast platforms. We're there. Check out Game X Podcast and all those places. Mike, thank you once again for joining me.
Yeah, I'm glad we could complete it this time.
Absolutely. And we'll be back again. I am going to do some more stuff on my own, but we're going to be back again probably here in a little bit and maybe a month or two. We'll get lined back up. We'll talk about some stuff that's going on. And yeah, guys. Yeah. So until then, I've been Brando. He's been Mike. And you guys have been you. You guys have been awesome. And we will see you next time, guys. Have a good one. Game on.